Hello friends, and welcome to Garden with Creekside. Today is part 2 of Mimi and Jenny here at the Woodland Garden at the Chicken Coop. Today we are going to get plants in the ground. We are going to get plants in pots. That is the goal. If you missed part 1, I will link that for you, where we went through the whole design process, decided where everything is going to go in this woodland garden. Trust me, I know it doesn't look like it, folks, but it is a shade garden. It is a shade garden underneath deciduous trees. So this is the weird time of year where we get a lot of sun in the garden. But during the summer, it is nice and shady. My goal is to create this space that gives me 4 seasons of interest, that is that iconic southern woodland garden with azaleas and camellias and hydrangeas and ferns and all the things. My problem is that this is terrible soil, like literally awful. Like if you will look, there is no mulch, we got rid of all the leaves. It was a heavily, had a leaf litter on top of it, but we did go ahead and get rid of them so we could actually see what we're working with. But when I tell you that there is no topsoil here, then that's what I mean. There is very little organic matter. If you see, like at the base of a hydrangea where it is dark, that's because I've been adding compost and amendments, amend. But when I truly say that this is red clay soil, like it is, you can see terrible. So we're choosing plants that are tough and can do really well. Now we have plants like hostas that are not going to do well here because they're just going to struggle and not get enough water. That's where we're adding in the containers. And we are putting these containers within the landscape to give me all of that lush foliage and texture that I want so desperately bad. This is Island Breeze, and you can see she is already starting to pop up and is going to be such a fun hosta here. Mimi is going to be joining me here shortly. She had some things she had to do this morning, so she's going to come join me. So while we wait on her, we are going to take a little look in the back of Johnny, because I went and grabbed the plants that I have designated for this space and a lot of potting soil, because I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the containers together while we wait on Mimi. Now, not all of these are gonna go in here, but I'm probably gonna pull some things that are gonna go in. So I've got mini hostas, I've got pulmonaria, I've got astilbes here, I've got ferns, I've got brunnera, I've got a Jacob's ladder. Lots of fun plants to go in this space. And then you can see this is the grower's gold, y'all. It was designed for the cannabis industry, hence the psychedelic and funky design on it. But we tried it out last year in my containers, and it grows some great plants. Now, no, we are not going to be going into the cannabis industry and growing special stuff, but Jerry did research before we got this, and so evidently the cannabis plant is quite particular, and so if you have really great soil for cannabis, then the other plants love it even better. So all I know is I used it last year in my hanging baskets, my pots, all sorts of things, and it was fantastic. So we have got we just got a soil delivery, and so we have got pallets of this. If you're coming to the garden center and you want to try it, you can try it. But yeah, I love this grower's gold. So like I said, it's fun, but we're not using it how it's intended. But we're going to grow some gorgeous plants with it. So what we're going to do first is get my sun hat on, and then we are going to start putting some pots together while we wait on Mimi to join us. My friends, I want to share with you my tips and tricks for planting a very successful container where these plants can stay in here for multiple years. There's just a little bit of know-how, a little bit of some insider information, if you will, to how we're going to set up this container for great success, not only this year, for the years to come. So I always tell people, get the biggest pot that your space will allow, because bigger pot means more soil that it will hold. More soil means more room for your roots to grow. It will hold water more, so you're not having to water as often, and it will hold the food for the plants. Also, please, please, please do not put fillers in the bottom of your pots. Y'all, that is the absolute worst thing you can do for your plants. People will put, here in the South, people will put pine cones. I know people will put like plastic water bottles, like they're recycling, styrofoam packing peanuts, all sorts of crazy stuff. Y'all, that is not food for the plants. You're taking away valuable real estate for these plants to grow, bloom, and thrive for you, whether they're annuals for a season or like today I'm putting in a hosta here. So fill the entire pot with good quality potting soil. That is a soapbox of mine. It is a pet peeve. Please do not do that, right? So a trick. That's not even a trick. That is instructions from Mama Jenny. Do not do that to your containers. Very passionate about this, can you tell? So what we're gonna do is we're only going to put in one plant in this container. We're gonna put a Thunderbolt Hosta, because I want this hosta to stay in here for quite a few years. And so I want to have, this is going to be a monoculture, meaning one plant in here. And Thunderbolt is low but wide, so it is going to fill in this container. I currently have a Thunderbolt in a 2-gallon nursery pot. This is probably equivalent to a 7-gallon, maybe a 9-gallon pot, just to kind of give you some reference on the size. It is a traditional pot. There is a drain hole in it. This is not an aqua pot, and it can stay out all year round here in North Carolina. I've actually had it outside for several years. I had something else in this, and then I moved it out. What we're gonna do, trick number 1, get a good quality compost. I've got my land and sea here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill the bottom third of the container with compost. So we're just going to dump in our compost. This bag is wet, so that's why it looks like I'm struggling. It is because I am, because it's been sitting out. All right, compost in. Next, we're gonna go with some soil. I'm not gonna fill it all the way up because I have another little trick that I'm gonna share with you. So good quality potting soil. If you don't know, go to your garden center and ask them what they recommend. If you don't have a good garden center, maybe you only have like big box stores, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and you're not going to buy the cheapest soil. You're gonna choose the ones that, let's just be honest, are on the more expensive end at that store. If they have a couple of different types, get a bag of each, one bag of each. You're gonna do your own little experiment at home this coming summer to find out which potting soil you like the best that you have available to you. So this is the trick, what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your nursery pot. Like I said, this is a 2-gallon container. You're going to take the plant out, and this will work for any kind of potted, like you're going into a container, hanging basket, window box, it does not matter. If you're going into some type of container, this is a great trick to do. So what I'm gonna do, and it's not that big of a deal right now because this hosta, it looks like there's nothing there, but there is. So this is more of a method that I'm teaching you than what I really need to actually do today. And in a second, I'm gonna move the camera so you can get an up close view. So you should have a really good view of what I have. I have set the nursery pot inside of my container. I don't want it above the rim of the container, and I don't want it too far down, because basically we're imagining that this is the root ball, right? So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take my potting soil and I'm going to dump it. And yes, there's gonna be something that's in the pot, don't worry about it. I'm going to fill in all the way around right here with the potting soil. I'm gonna pack it down really firm, and when all the soil is in here and it's really firm, I'm gonna keep about an inch lip down here because I'm gonna put mulch on top. So I don't want it super full, and then once the soil is in, push down. You know what, I might even go ahead and put the mulch on too. mulch is in, soil's in, and then what I'm gonna do is wiggle, 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 and pull this out, and I'm gonna have a perfect form in my pot that I can then take my root ball and drop it in. Thunderbolt Hosta is all planted. So again, just as a quick little recap, I am an educator at heart after all. So compost in the bottom, put some potting soil in, put your nursery pot in, empty nursery pot, pack the potting soil all around it. I went ahead and put another little, just a thin little layer of compost around the top, then the mulch, and you will see that I don't like to fill my containers up super heavy, because there's nothing more than drives me insane is when I'm coming here to do a nice deep water and the soil level is too high and then the soil starts to overflow and spill over the side. Drives me insane. So I always shoot for the side of a little bit under. Took the nursery pot out, sprinkled in my biotone, and now we're gonna give it a really good drink of water to get all of that soil all the way down to the bottom, nice and damp. Y'all, I'm telling you, it is the false spring around here. We are now in the 80s. The next week, we're gonna hit like 86. And then we have a cold front come in and it goes back into the highs in the upper 60s and things. But it is warm. You may need some sunglasses because I got my shorts on today. It is toasty and it's only gonna get hotter in the next week. So I need to make sure that all of these new plantings are really well watered in. When will I come back and re-water this? Probably not for at least 4 or 5 days, because there's not very many roots compared to how much soil is in here right now. So this will be my one good watering for the next, maybe even the week, and then we'll just take it from there. You want your soil moist, not soaking wet all the time. Obviously, when you water it, it's going to be soaking wet right then. You need it to dry out. If people kill plants in containers in the ground with the watering, typically it's because they overlove the plant and they put too much water in it. And so they drown their plants. They're tougher than you think. All right, so we're gonna move on to some more pots until Mimi gets here. Okay, my friends, it is, I don't even know what time it is. It is the end of the day. And as one of you sweet viewers told me, you know, at the end of the day in springtime, you should be covered in dirt and smell like outside in the garden. So mission accomplished for sure on that. Y'all, we got so much stuff done. And again, I know there's not, a lot of chit chat in between, but when Mimi and I get together, we are just a little force to be reckoned with and are just working our hearts out and just bringing you along for the ride. So I cannot wait to share with you all that we got done, because we made really good progress. When I first got started, I was like, I'm not gonna get anything done today, but I was proven wrong, and we did. Let's start with what we got done. So I found 2 more blue pots. There's Ollie's discount, Ollie's bargain something, I don't remember. Anyway, they have a great, in the springtime, great selection of glazed pottery. So I stopped by yesterday and got these 2. They're just beginning to get their pots in. They don't have a huge selection yet. So in the tall pot to the left, that is a guacamole hosta just by itself. Y'all, this was the massive hosta that you saw when Mimi and I were in here in part 1. It was in this pot where we had to break the pot to get it out. So I did some really good root pruning, got it in here, and because it is so tall, it should do just fine and have tons of room for those roots to grow. So I cannot wait to see guacamole pop through. And then in the little sister piece next door is the Hurricane Ridge. That is the Jacob's Ladder. This is a great one. It's hardy in zones 5 to 9. Both of these plants are Creekside champions because they have proven themselves to be amazing plants in the garden. So doing a little companion planting right here. Now, when guacamole flushes out and is in all her glory, probably will have to kind of put some distance between these 2 pots, but for now, it's totally fine. Everything is good in here. And then, of course, you were with me when we planted the Thunderbolt. Yes, Thunderbolt there in the beginning, getting a little afternoon sunshine on it. The Pinkaboo Pulmonaria will get planted here at the base. I love Pinkaboo. It is just such a cute pulmonaria with those beautiful pink and blue flowers. So we're going to come back because we are not done. 2 days was not even nearly enough time to be in this garden. And then this is a fun little story. I don't think we filmed this part, but we got 3 of these Hellebores in. So a fun little story. So we're gonna have a story time right quick. So we've got these 3 Hellebores. We have Elemental, Magico, and Vibey Velvet here. Years ago, one of our plant brokers sent us some Hellebore starts to sample. And y'all, they were so itty bitty, teeny tiny. And Jerry was like, I just don't have time to mess with them. Because of course it was in the springtime when it's all crazy. So he gave them to Mimi. Mimi planted them. They sat and did nothing in her garden for a couple of years. And then this year they exploded and did great. They're gorgeous. And I was talking to her, I was like, Mama, those are stunning. And she was like, well, I'll give you some. So she gave me 1 of each and put them here in the garden. So she literally dug them up out of her garden this morning and we plopped them down into this new spot today in my garden. So kind of a little bit of a full circle moment there with the Hellebores. Then the Jacob, we put Jacob, nestled him down in here. These are just some stump pieces that we, were from this bed that we collected. So put Jacob in and then put the stump little pieces all around, nestled him in there. It's gonna look so cute next to the Fairy Trail Bride hydrangea that we have here to the left. Still have to plant the Orions. I'm not too worried about that. And let's see, got the aspidistras in the ground. So that is a huge step. We also got all of the autumn ferns in the ground. So we did go ahead, Mama went ahead and cut back all of the foliage, but they start all the way back here and then they come around the base of the stump here. So won't be long and they'll flush out and get a nice, they'll really soften this stump just like the aspidistra do on the other 2 stumps right there. So we got that done, and then Mimi got the little collection of pots planted right here. So you caught me in the middle, I forgot to put these down. So I was getting my little copper plant tags made, and so those will go onto their little stakes and I will put them into the pots because if you know me, y'all probably do, have the memory of a gnat sometimes, as my husband tells me. So what I did is, this has an astilbe, so this is Maggie Daly in here, spectacular cast iron plant. Then this is the Rainforest Sunrise Hosta, and then an apple crisp Eucharella that Mimi gave me last fall that spent all winter tucked up beside of the house in the nursery pot. So we put those four together rather, and got them all collected. So once Mimi got here and we kind of got into our groove, we really started moving, and we got a lot more stuff done than I thought we were going to. So the goal is obviously to plant the pots and to put the plants in the ground. But as we talked about the first time we were here a couple of days ago, the soil is absolutely just horrendous. Compact, pure red clay, no organic matter whatsoever. And so Mimi and I started putting down the Ultra Outdoor planting mix. So this is from Black Gold. Any high quality compost would be great. I particularly like the Ultra Outdoor in this application because it's very thick and very, technical term, very composty, and it holds the moisture really well. You absolutely can plant directly in this because it is a planting mix, but it also works really well as an amendment for your soil. So we're using this as a top layer. We're side dressing all of the plants with this compost. So basically what we did is, you can see those dark spots, right? Like paisley pup here in the middle. We just take a bag or a piece of the bag and do a ring around the drip line and extend it a little bit. So like where the sarcococcas are, just mixed all of that together and just let it bleed together and put it all in there. So we got about, I don't know, maybe half the garden done with that. Got some, I have some Invincible hydrangeas, got them pruned back, and then got some fertilizer down. So feeding food. So whether it is your compost that you're feeding your plants with, or an organic slow release fertilizer, food equals flowers, and this is when they desperately need it, is when they are waking up from their winter slumber. So got this portion of the garden taken care of, and then once everything is taken care of, plants are in the ground, compost is down, fertilizer is down, then that's when we're going to come in with the mulch. Now, if y'all follow us, then you know that I do love the Daddy Pete, the soil enhancer. It's aged pine bark fine. It is great. I am not putting it in this bed because I need water retention out the wazoo. I need organic matter out the wazoo. And while it would be good, it needs a little something, a little extra. So this is the Daddy Pete landscape mix. This is actually the last pallet we have, and I was like, I need it. And so the landscape mix is what we actually put in the berm, if you remember a couple weeks ago. So it's a blend of the aged pine bark and compost. So yes, I'm adding more compost. I cannot over compost this garden. So we will put that down once we get all the other steps put into place. But that is the success for maintaining and creating a thriving garden that is that woodland garden. Morning sun, especially right now, while the trees are, you can see they're just not leafed out yet, but as soon as we get leaves on those trees, then man, boom, it's like instant shade for these sweet little plants. So I do want to show you, this is not related whatsoever to a woodland garden at all, but, and don't judge me, okay, because I'm going to show you, you got to look for the beauty in the middle of the mess. Can I just say that? So I drove up in Johnny up here this morning, and I was like, oh my gosh. You ready? The tulips started blooming, y'all. Look at that. So this is Bella Blush from Color Blends, of course. It has been so warm, like I'm telling you, it is hot and it is toasty. And these tulips are just popping out, but are they not just beautiful, especially with those yellow violas? So stinking excited, and there goes a bumblebee right on cue. Just so excited. So yeah, seeing tulips come up and flower never ever gets old. All right, my friends, so like I said, whew, dead dog tired, and so good work today. We're done. End of it. we'll be back at it again here before you know it, getting everything done. And water. So we're already starting to water with the heat. It's been dry. We're definitely technically in a drought, so we are watering. I got the hose link out. That's where that 100-foot hose link, man, it comes in super handy because it reaches everything up here. So anyway, as always, we hope you found it fun, informative, inspirational. Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna go sit on the porch in my rocking chair. Take a little rest for a minute. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.